Okay, we are live. And Pat, uh, give me a sign. Can you hear me?
I can hear you loud and clear.
Okay, how's it sound? Because I don't have my usual headset right now.
You sound fine.
Great, good to know. So just wait for some folks to join before we get started. And we're gonna get started in a couple of minutes. We got some people signing up, joining us now. And while we just wait for another minute or two for some more folks to join us, please go ahead and tell us in the chat box on the right side where you're joining us from. Where are you from today? What part of the world? What state, city? Tell us. It's always really nice to see. It's sometimes very surprising. Where people actually tune in from. So don't be shy. Go to that chat box on the right side. Just give us a hi. Maybe give us a. That'll also help confirm that not only does Pat hear me, but so does the audience. And it'd be great to see where you're from. Okay, we got Kathleen from Lynchburg, Virginia. Really an honor to have you here. And Susan French from Syracuse, New York. Nima is in Pennsylvania. So we got a lot of, northeasterners. Do we have any? Well, Pat's joining us from California, and that certainly counts. Anybody from any other parts of the U.S. or Canada or maybe other parts of the world? We'll often get some people from the UK joining us too, so it's always neat. All right, we got Mary from Fresno. Awesome. Okay, well, thanks everybody for saying hi, sharing where you're from. We're gonna get moving along now. Of course, what we're talking about today is, marketing your Montessori school. Of course, we're gonna focus on marketing and the purposes of enrollment. We know there's other things that you can market, and there's many different marketing strategies depending on what your goals are with your marketing. So what we're also going to be specifically talking about today is what we call a lead generation campaign. And more specifically for Montessori, we would call that inquiry generation. So, lead is sort of the marketing jargon, whereas, for a school, that really just means an inquiry. That's a lead. So, and we're going to talk about how to use Facebook ads to increase those inquiries and ultimately your enrollment. So, take a look at this picture, and I'd like to ask you, does this look familiar to you at all? Like, can you relate to this at all? Right? There's a busy, lot of things going on when you're working in a school office. You're getting pulled in many, many directions, often at the same time, with parents and students and staff and teachers. And you end up with, got paper calendars and binders and some piles of money and cash and checks and sticky notes. And all the while, there's this computer sitting there that can generally manage most of what needs to be managed in the school office. Certainly, if you've got the right software, can handle everything in the fraction of the time. So you're in the right place if you wish that, relying on word of mouth referrals was enough, but you know that it's not. By enough, what I mean is enough so that you don't have to also work on marketing with everything else that's going on. And you're in the right place if you want to fill your school to capacity and have a waiting list that is always filling up and staying at a minimum length. And you're in the right place if you'd like to spend more time on higher value tasks like face-to-face conversations with parents and children, rather than the hundreds or maybe even thousands of little pieces of busy work that can really keep you quite busy and away, pull you away from those much more meaningful, impactful engagements. We strongly encourage you to stay for the full 60 minutes of this presentation because we're going to review a variety of solutions to some of the most common challenges of enrollment marketing. And I'm also going to be telling you about how you can receive a free ebook at the end of this, which is a guide to getting started with Facebook ads for Montessori enrollment marketing. And you'll be able to literally copy every part of our successful Facebook ads and rebrand them for your school. And I encourage you to do so. Take it and use it to help your school grow. And so this is just a it's got case studies and parent surveys and example ads, and so it's going to be really handy. We're going to hand all of that to you at no cost. You got to stick around to the end to get that. So let's do a quick poll. I'd like to hear from the group today. What do you currently use? What strategies do you use to grow your enrollment right now? What are you guys doing? So take a minute. I know you might have to chew on that for a second to think about all of them, but go to that chat box on the right side of the screen and just share some of the things that's going on at your school. What are you currently doing to ensure that your school is growing in enrollment and staying at capacity, and of course ideally retaining a waiting list that is long enough to ensure and that keeps on filling up so that you ideally don't have to work towards marketing anymore. So what is going on at your school in that area? What do you guys do? Don't be shy. Use that chat box. So Danielle says word of mouth and signs on busy roads. Okay. So word of mouth marketing, of course, is something that you really can't not have, right? You've got a good school. People are going to tell others about it. So word of mouth isn't, I wouldn't say exactly a marketing strategy, as opposed to it's the result of a good product or service. But of course, having billboards or signs on roads, that's certainly a marketing strategy. So Nima says DM, so I'm assuming that means direct messaging, direct marketing. I mean signage, family referrals, open houses, online. So I guess online marketing. So okay, family referrals. That is kind of you might call that word of mouth marketing, referrals, but you can actually promote parents to give them an incentive to actually share your school with other parents. We've got a lot of great responses here. Susan has open houses. Oh, Susan is using Facebook ads. That's great. Print advertising campaigns. Yeah, so free toddler playgroup. That's quite interesting. I'd like to chat about that sometime with you, Susan. That's very neat. Okay, so we're seeing a lot of the similar stuff, social media. So we're going to move on, but I'm glad we've got an idea of who I'm talking to now, and that's great. So that'll help me sort of, make this presentation maybe a little more relevant to everybody. So private schools need to be more competitive. So what does that mean? So basically, the market's growing and it's only going to increase. Schools are popping up all over the place. That is a reality, but it's also something that is very tangible to people running schools. Every time I talk to a head of school or a school director, most are seeing and are commenting about how, they used to be the only school in the area maybe, and now there's, 2 other schools, maybe even 2 other Montessori schools. I've seen sometimes like a sort of a competing Montessori school across the street from another one. The bottom line is, and I don't want to be rude or cynical, but if Montessori schools could approach running the school is a little more like a business. And I'm only referring to the communication side of things, meaning the marketing and the customer service, which you could also call parent engagement. The impact of that would be really positive. So what I mean to say is this challenge of keeping your school enrolled is a very fixable problem. It's actually really easy. It just takes having a bit of a framework. So what we're seeing in the market is that yes, the market size is growing, which is good, but with that growth comes more competition. So what we're seeing is a downward trend of schools having a harder time retaining their retention and keeping their school at capacity. And most Montessori schools today want to increase the enrollment numbers, or at least want to increase the number of inquiries of families that are actually looking for a school like yours, rather than parents who are just looking for any old place to stick their kids. You all know that parents that are more in line with the values of your school are more likely to stay, and the ones that aren't are more likely to leave in a year and take a few more families with them when they go. And the quote unquote wrong families to look for a different school is to ensure that you have enough inquiries coming in so you don't feel like your back is up against the wall. If you want to make sure that your ads are drawing in the most ideal parents, then you need to make sure you're speaking to those parents specifically and directly. Your first step should be to identify the parents that are currently enrolled at your school, or let's say you're just opening up a school. You need to lock down the persona and to get a good understanding of the parents that you understand to be the most ideal fit. The ones that you would want to clone, right? And ideally have only parents like this. And then you want to survey those parents so you can understand them and understand in their language in this area that you're located, because language changes sometimes from neighborhood to neighborhood. How do they phrase the value that they see from your school? Then you want to take that language that they use, not necessarily the Montessori trained language, but the language that they use, or maybe that they would have used before they were a parent at your school that's become educated on the Montessori method. And then you want to use that in the ads and on the web pages that are connected to the ads. And truthfully, you want to update every single piece of marketing material you have with that language, because your website and your ads and your pamphlets are there for prospective parents, and you want to make sure you're speaking to them the right way. So I want to ask you something. You all have inquiries. You're all probably investing money into growing your enrollment. Do you know how much you spend per inquiry? One of the best things about digital advertising, one of the most revolutionary changes or innovations it brought to marketing, is how much actionable information you get out of digital marketing campaigns. Unlike print ads that can't track anything, tools like Facebook tell you exactly how much value you are getting from every single dollar you spend. But the problem is that knowing how to use those tracking codes properly, and that could mean a different thing, depending on the type of marketing campaign you're running. And understanding what specific metrics are important to track, again, that changes from every single goal you have for marketing. It takes a lot of time and experience to learn all that. So when I talk to school leaders that are using Facebook ads, I always ask them, how much are you spending per inquiry? And to date, nobody has ever known. And they often tell me, oh, we've gotten this many clicks, but the problem is that clicks for a campaign that's meant to generate inquiries clicks is not the result you're looking for. That does not tell you, it does not inform you how well your campaign is running, because a lead generation campaign, or for our purposes, an inquiry generation campaign, consists of more than just an ad that people click on. It also consists of a web page, or what we're going to call a landing page. And that's where the parents opt in to learn more about your school. They would generally fill out a digital form. So knowing how much that costs, meaning whereas an inquiry, how much that costs, that is the success metric for your campaign. And if you know how much you're spending per inquiry, that informs you exactly, that is the most important metric that will tell you how well your campaign is performing. So this little example here of a couple of ads within a campaign, you know, one ad was generated a conversion for $6.50, and another one generated a conversion for $11.65. So that actually tells you which ad is performing better. And we'll break that down even more. But just to keep numbers round and simple, you know, what do you do with this information? It can really inform you for the future. So as an example, if you know that it costs you $10 on average to get an inquiry, then you can actually do some forward planning, some budgeting. As a rule of thumb, you should always have 4 times the amount of inquiries in comparison to how many spots you need to fill up. So just to do some basic math, if you've got 10 spots to fill up, and that means you should have 40 inquiries to make sure you can fill up those 10 spots. And if it costs you $10 per inquiry, then you know to fill up those 10 spots, you need to have a budget that will spend $400, and it'll cost you $400 to get those 10 spots filled up. That, if you think about it, if you know that information from having historical data and having a campaign that you can turn on and off whenever you want, and that it works and it generates consistently inquiries for $10 an inquiry, then when you're budgeting and you see, okay, well, maybe your school's even full, but your waiting list has gotten a little thinner and a bunch of parents have dropped off your waiting list, well, maybe you need to get 10 more people filled into your waiting list. And that can cost you $400. And if you're spending that money, then you know you're spending $400 to keep your school full. And then you know you don't have to budget $3,000 for marketing because you know you only need $400. And that's what a good system that tracks everything can help you do. And I also want to talk a little bit about how I mentioned web pages or websites. So how does a website play into this, or for your marketing strategy? Well, you know, when set up properly, your school's website should be getting found by prospective families. And it should be increasing, of course, the number of inquiries of families that are an ideal fit for your school. And then driving those ideal families into your enrollment process. Another way to think about your school's website is like a billboard. I often give this analogy when helping people understand what, you know, Hubley's web page feature and search engine optimization features do for them. This is one of the core features we actually offer. You know, everyone knows they need a website, and I don't think I've ever come across a school that doesn't have some kind of website or web page up online. But what I do find is that most schools are not using their website strategically. One thing that is key about how your website should be designed is that the purpose of the website is not to sell your school. And that might sound a little weird, but its purpose is to get the right families to inquire about the school, to enter into your enrollment process. This is a very key distinction, because you should not be trying to sell someone on the Montessori method on your website. That is what the rest of your enrollment process is for. When they come to an open house or do a tour, that's when your passion, and you know, you don't even need to do sales or have any sales tactics or think about sales. You just have to be you. You're a passionate educator, and you just need to talk about how much you love it, and that will sell the parents once they're in the school, meeting you face to face. But at the point which they find your school online, is when it's all about getting them to that moment, to that open house, or to that tour. That's what the website is for, and that means it has to be designed differently, and it means it has to have certain questions. I'm going to jump to this question here. Pat's asking well, she's rephrasing, what do you consider an inquiry? Just contacting the school for information, a tour, application. So Pat's saying an inquiry is someone contacting the school. So, right. So, and that's a really good question, because it does touch on the idea that, different inquiries have different values. So that's something that, you need to, really think about, because, an inquiry is, I would not call an inquiry a tour. I would call a tour the next stage after an inquiry. So an inquiry is somebody contacting the school or asking the school to, to send them some information, or asking the school to follow up with them. So now I'm going to talk about this case study here with Rising Scholar Montessori. This is a campaign that we are currently running, and so what I want to do is use this as a case study to break down some really important findings that we've had. We're running many of these campaigns for many schools, and so this one I thought was a really good example. So what we're looking at here is this campaign. Again, this includes a Facebook ad. It also includes driving the traffic from that Facebook ad to a web page where the parents actually fill out a form online, answer some, offer information, and are doing so to, they are opting in to be contacted by the school. So this campaign in the last 30 days has generated 30. Now it says in the purple area, it says 30 conversions. What this means is, here conversions means the actual inquiry. So that parent clicked on the ad, went to that web page, and then inputted the information into the form. So they filled out a form requesting to be contacted by the school. So quite a lot of value in those 30 inquiries. But what Facebook does, because we've connected the Facebook tracking pixels and all that stuff to the web pages, we're able to track exactly how much you're spending per inquiry. So right now, if you look in this red box here, this campaign over the last 30 days for those 30 inquiries spent $9.86 per inquiry, or per conversion. Same thing. So that's a really per inquiry. What we're not talking about is per click. We're talking about many clicks. So there was actually 320 clicks on the ad, right? And then out of those 323 clicks, 30 of those people went to that web page and filled out the form, said, please follow up with me, I'm interested in your school. So there's a lot of value to those inquiries. The other thing, if we take a look at, so I'm going to just show some information here. So this is going to be helpful. You can take this information and go run your own Facebook ads. So something to know is that, and then we see this across the board with all of our campaigns. And this, I don't think this is going to be overly surprising to anybody, but the demographics that are actually, clicking on those ads and signing up, filling out that form, are women, much more predominantly than men. And but let's look at the ages here. So we're looking at between the ages of 25 to 44 is where all of those conversions came from. So of course, not a big surprise. This is the age bracket that has has children that are of the right age, generally speaking. But I just want to show you there is a complete cliff drop off after 44. Sometimes when we're working with schools, they say, so what do you do with this information? Well, what you would take this information, you would go run your ad, and you would want to target these ages. You want to make sure that you're not putting impressions of your ads or allowing people in other age brackets let's say under 24 or over 44, to even see the ads. You can block the ads from being shown to those people so that you're not paying for clicks unnecessarily, because you want to use your ad dollars in the most efficient way possible. So you want to make sure that you're only showing it to the people that have the highest probability of clicking and filling out the form. Otherwise, you are going to waste some of your money. So having this information allows you to target your ads to be the most, so that your ad dollars, your ad spend is most efficiently used. Here's another bit of information, which again, I would say is representative across the board. These are the interests. So when you're building Facebook targeting, you can select interests. So you want to target women between the ages of 24 and 40, 25 and 44, and also, right, as a filter for the targeting, and are interested in early childhood education, child development, positive parenting, Montessori education, of course, parenting, Maria Montessori. These are all interests that Facebook knows about these people, and this is why Facebook is such a powerful tool. You can't do this in any other platform. You can't do this in Google. You can't do this anywhere else. Google allows you to do some targeting, but they don't. These, when you do targeting in Google ads, you can't. These aren't users in Google. People are anonymous in Google for the most part. So in Google, you know what keywords they're searching for, so that does show some interest, and you know what area they are, but you don't actually you don't know that the user actually is interested in early childhood education and is a woman that is 20 in the age bracket that you're looking for. With Facebook, you get all this cross-referencing, which makes your ad dollars be used so much more efficiently. And I'll just mention here, so a point of learning, this column I've got highlighted in red is the header is CTR. That means click-through rate. So what that means is that these interests showed a click-through rate, which is a ratio of impressions, which means an impression is that the actual ad is shown. That's called an impression. When it displays on the screen, that's called an impression. And then a click, of course, it's obvious when somebody clicks on it. So the ratio. So this is ranked in order of the most engaged interest of all of those ad impressions that we have. So this is just important. So you want to take this information and use it. I'm getting some feedback that my audio is going in and out. Is anyone else having a hard time? Pat, can you confirm? Can you hear me okay still?
Yes, I can hear you fine.
Okay, thank you. That's fine. So this is something that depending on the area you're in, or if there's the Wi-Fi you're on might be having some problems or something. So Sarah, I'm sorry you're having audio issues, but stick with us. I'm sure it'll get better. So this is just some information you want to have. So when you build your Facebook campaign, you want to make sure you're targeting these interests, because these are common across all of our campaigns, show a very high engagement with, they're going to help you find the right parents. Now, what I'm showing you here, this is really interesting. So the reason why I'm showing you this, and I'm actually going to even show you something that you might even think is like risky for me to show you, because we actually provide this service, but I'm going to show you something that actually makes us look bad for a second. So this campaign, when you run these campaigns, the preface here is that what you need to understand is that Facebook campaigns take time. You got to figure them out. You got to do a lot of testing. For the campaign that we're looking at, we tested over 50 ads. So that's the service we provide. We make all these different ads, and we do all this testing, right, to find the ads that work. So with this campaign, the one that's performing really well, the one I just showed you, that's campaign number 3. That's the one that's furthest to the right here. And the first campaign did okay. It actually performed okay. If we look over to campaign 1, it had 6 conversions at a cost of $42 per conversion. So that's a lot higher than $10, but it's not horrible. But we knew that we had to, we had to do better than that for our clients. So we did some testing and we tried something else. In campaign 2, if you look, we had 0 conversions. So what did we do? We actually broke something. Our testing, our new idea did not work. We did not improve on the first campaign. We ruined what we had. So in the third campaign, we went back to the first campaign, and each one of these takes a month. So in the third month, we went back to the first campaign, and then we tested it from a different angle, and then boom, and then it hit, and it did really, really well. And now it's consistently generating basically one campaign a day. Sorry, one inquiry a day consistently. So, so it's so that's what it takes. It's not something that happens overnight. It's very, very easy. If you don't know how to do the testing and how to measure it properly and how to track it, it's very easy to waste a lot of money on Facebook ads, but it's also hands down, if you know how to use them properly and what to target and what kind of campaign to set up and how to connect it properly to your site, etc. If you know that stuff, it is by far the most efficient way to generate enrollment for a Montessori school. And another point I want to make is like why is Facebook so good for Montessori school marketing? That's not truth for across the board, but for Montessori school marketing, it is. And the main reason why is because that demographic we're talking about, women between the age of 25 to 44, is the largest demographic on Facebook today. And not only the largest, the most engaged. So that, if you're thinking about a marketing platform to go to, you want to go where your customers are. Like, you want to go to the place where they hang out online and where they engage online, and that is Facebook by a long shot. Okay, so moving on with this case study here. So I just want to show you, this is the actual ad that after testing over 50 ads, this is the one, and this is a video ad that we created. This is the one that actually produced the best results, the one that's getting one inquiry a day for, on average, around $10. I just want to talk about this ad for a second. It says, if you want your child in an environment that treats him or her as an individual, with teachers who are trained to develop customized learning plans, then you should get to know Rising Scholars Montessori. So that's one part of the ad. Another part of the ad is the headline. The headline says, looking for the right school for your child, right? And then there's, of course, a video there, right, which auto rolls when somebody is on Facebook and they scroll and they see this and it starts to roll. So the video actually auto rolls and it shows text as well through the video. So they might not even have clicked on it to hear the music. Most people don't, but they're actually watching the copywriting inside the video scroll through and ask a question. Want your child treated like an individual, etc. Right? So, what I will say is that we didn't just design this ad and then it worked the first time. As I explained, we tested over 50 ads, and that's like we had a combination of different headlines and a combination of different videos and a combination of different ad text copywriting bodies and different targeting. So we test all these things in what's called a multivariate test. So it's quite an advanced way to test, but it's the best way to do it. Meaning, so we've got maybe like 5 different headlines and 5 different videos. We're seeing which headlines and which videos work together. So it's kind of a, we mix and match them all together and make a multivariate test, and we see what combination works best. So when people click on that ad, it then goes over to this landing page, and the landing page that's just a web page. And what a landing page is, it's a web page with very specific design rules. Basically, it's a landing page that doesn't have like a standard navigation at the top and doesn't have links going all over the place. It just it's dedicated to the one purpose that page is for, which is filling out that form. So that's the only thing that person can do when they click on the ad. They go to this page. Either they're a good fit, they're a good ideal candidate, and they're going to fill out that form, or they're going to bounce off the page. So there's nothing else for them to do. So so this page, again, we tested about 3 or 4 versions of this page. That's, again, a combination of page layout, design, copywriting, and imagery and all that stuff. And this page is the winner. And the web page is just as important as the ad. And because, again, we're counting, this is a lead generation campaign, or you might say an inquiry generation campaign. So we're counting, the only success metric that matters with this campaign is how many inquiries came in. That means how many times did somebody come to this web page and fill out the form, and how much did you spend per inquiry? So,
John,
yes.
We have a question. They want to know, is there a specific CTR threshold or range that's considered good or best in class?
So to be totally honest, I don't think you're going to do a whole lot better than what I'm showing you here. We have had the odd, and we've done many of these. So I'll say that if you consider the value of one enrollment, which is, I would say on average, probably about $80,000 for a school, meaning the lifetime value of an enrolled student, they might stick with you for, a number of years. So that's tuition year over year. So, to basically to be generating an inquiry for a child at only, let's say on average $10, I really would not expect to do a whole lot better than that on average. So a click-through rate is really not that important. Click-through rates, again, if we were doing a branding campaign, which was just about getting awareness, and maybe you had a video and you just wanted people to watch the video, but not actually click through to a website and then fill out a form, then click-through rate, CTR, is important. But CTR is not important when, meaning a click-through rate, a good lead generation campaign like this, oftentimes the ad that actually generates the most inquiries, oftentimes, and for the lowest cost per inquiry, will oftentimes have a lower click-through rate than another ad that did not perform as well to generate inquiries. So you have to understand what the goal is of the campaign. And if your goal of the campaign is to generate an inquiry, then you need to kind of ignore the click-through rate, because that doesn't matter as much. I mean, there has to be click-throughs, but when you really get into testing the performance of a lead generation campaign like this, the most important metric is cost per inquiry, or you would also say cost per conversion. That is the metric. That's the only one that really matters, because if it's the lower cost, that means you're getting a higher conversion rate, and that means you can spend more money to get more inquiries. Yeah, so that's, but I just wanted to show you the exact assets that were driving these metrics. So feel free to, steal this stuff, use it, copy this and take this approach. You have to test, because, by the way, every area is different and language matters depending on what neighborhood you're in. So don't expect that if you copy this word for word, it's going to work for you, because there's a whole lot of things there. But use it as a starting point and come up with 5 different ideas that are similar, or compared to this, and maybe you'll even come up with a better cost per inquiry. And if you do, hey, call me and tell me about it, because I'd love to hear. Okay, and this is really the ultimate way to achieve school admissions workload reduction. So it doesn't stop at the ad and the landing page. Of course, that's the top of the funnel, right? If you really want to improve and simplify your enrollment marketing workload, you're going to want to set up some automated workflows to handle the tasks that you repeat on a regular basis. So here is an example of an automated enrollment workflow that we recently built for one of our customers inside their Hubly site. The reason why a digital marketing system is always better than print is that you can actually track how every single step in the process is performing, and then you can improve upon it. So even if you were able to move, let's say you were comparing a print advertising campaign that you used to do according, and you're comparing it to like a Facebook campaign. Let's just say you were even able to track the paper, print advertising, which you can't, unfortunately, but let's say you could, right? It's even if the print, when you first ran the Facebook campaign, let's say the print campaign did better. The thing is with Facebook is that you can test every element of the campaign and improve upon it from moment to moment. So it's very common that from 1 week to the next, a Facebook ad campaign can improve by 300%, just like the one I showed you. First month was at 6 conversions, second month, 0 conversions. Oh, what do? We broke it. Go back to the drawing board. And we ran another test, and we improved it by 500%, right? 6 to 30. It's multiple of 5, right? So it's actually really easy to do that stuff, but you got to know how to approach it, and you have to obviously know the tools well. So additionally, with Facebook ads, what's really helpful too is that you can just set up like a daily spending limit, and then you can pause and start and stop them at any time you want. So it's kind of like turning on a self-driving car. It's like the Facebook ad budget is like the switch, turn it on, turn it off, and you can do it literally from minute to minute. Whereas with print ads, there's a really hefty cost up front, right? You're going to pay something like $3,000, put an ad in a big ad in a magazine, and you're just going to hope for the best, and you can't even track its performance. So it's really not nearly as good, or and you certainly have way less control or destiny over the outcome. So just to break down some of these elements, actually, I'm just going to jump back here. So just to describe how this example funnel worked. So the Facebook ads were at the top, and then of course prospective parent would click on it and go down to the web page, and that's where they fill out that inquiry form. And then, someone in the office would get an email notifying them, and there'd be a record in the system. And then that parent could actually, and this is what our system would do, as an example, start sending a series of emails that basically talk about how great the school is, and then drive the parent to book that tour. And we have a feature I'll show you in a second. You want to use something like what we have, which is like an automated appointment feature. There's many different individual appointment features out there. We just have it all in one system. But you want to use the appointment feature because you don't want to have to manually follow up with people. If you use a good digital appointment tool, it'll send automated reminders, and and then you're gonna get people showing up a lot more often, without you having to like remind people manually or send emails with the information, because the system handles that email automatically. And then what's even more than that is, let's say that parent comes in for a tour, but for some reason they didn't fill out the application form yet, but you want them. You're like, this is a perfect parent. So the system can actually notify you. Let's say a week goes by and that parent has not yet filled out the application form, and you're busy, you're getting pulled in 1,000 directions. You don't have to remember. The system will actually send you a reminder like, hey, Bob Smith did not fill out the that application. Take the next step, and etc. So that's the idea, is that you want a system that basically doesn't let great prospective parents fall through the cracks, and keeps them engaged and keeps you on top of it, so that you don't even have to remember. It'll remind you and drive you to the next step in the process for everybody. And then you can always just log in at any point in time and see where is everybody at. So so digital forms is one of those components of a system like this that really make it easy. So you could be like an inquiry form, this could be the application form, this could be the enrollment contract, all that stuff, and then parents can just the system keeps on bringing parents back in and showing them what they have to do. So again, automating the system, handling the reminders, taking that off your plate, and actually giving the parents an experience that they much prefer. Nobody really likes filling out paperwork. Digital paperwork, so to speak, is a lot more fun. And then so this is the Hubly appointment management tool. So this is that the system again will send emails to the parents, drive them to go here, and then they can just select the time that you have set up, and then it sends reminders and handles all that stuff for you, so you don't have to remember. And then you can see reports. Where is everybody at what stage? So you're never actually, so not only are you keeping track of where everybody is, but you're also, let me just see here, you're also, keeping up to date with all the different stages and how it's performing. So it's, again, number one, you can always see what parents are at what stage in your enrollment process, but you can also get a bit of an analysis going and see, how are my different stages going? Why, how can we improve the application form process? The rate of parents that come in for a tour to filling out the application form, if you try different things, you can track from 1 month to the next, hey, we tried this new strategy to get parents to fill out the application form, and it showed an increase of 20% application forms, tour to application forms. So like, that's something that will have a big impact on the school. And if you have a system that's tracking it, you can then do that type of testing and know like quantitatively how that strategy impacted your enrollment numbers. So so this stuff is, obviously really exciting to a sort of a software and marketing geek like me, but I'd love to know what you think about this, right? Like, I don't know exactly why you showed up here today, but I bet I can take a couple good guesses that you probably want to be able to keep your school enrolled to capacity with a waiting list that's always staying at a consistent size. You probably want to have enough inquiries coming in month after month so that you're not afraid to turn away those parents that you don't really believe are a great fit for your school, but so that your back isn't up against the wall just taking their tuition because you're afraid you won't be able to make payroll otherwise. You don't want to be in that position. You want to be confident about actually helping families find the right school for them that might not be yours. And you want to free up your time from the kind of boring and repetitive remedial activities like sorting through sheets of paper, so you can spend more time on those higher value and, let's be honest, much more enjoyable tasks like being in the classroom or talking to those new families that are coming in face to face, as opposed to sending a bunch of emails or collecting sheets. And you're capable of more, and you just need to get some of these roadblocks out of your way. And then obviously you want to give your prospective parents an amazing communication experience that is engaging and informative, and it makes them look forward to enrolling their child in your school. And that's a big part of this process. Communication, not just from once they're enrolled, but like throughout the whole process. You want to be engaging these parents in a deep, meaningful way from the point that they inquire. So you can do this, and you've shown up here today. You've made it a priority. Hopefully you've taken some notes. I hope you have, because because this stuff you can use. You can go into Facebook right now and use some of this and see if it helps you. Maybe you're even excited about making these changes. And I want you to know that a really amazing marketing strategy can change your school, and it can change really your life, but you've got to know exactly what to do at your school specifically, because all schools are a little different. What's the skill level of your staff as opposed to another school? What are the communication expectations of the parents in your area? That differs from area to area. What tools do you already know, like that you're comfortable with using? And can those be used more effectively, or do you need to switch to another tool? So that's where we come in. So you've got two options. Option one is to kind of take the information I've given you here today, which is it is kind of high level, and then figure out how to make the changes on your own. You certainly are all smart and capable people, but I'm pretty sure, like most people in your shoes, you're probably pretty busy and you don't necessarily have all the time in the world to figure all of this stuff out. It's a lot of technical information. So the obvious question is, how can you quickly and easily figure this stuff out for your school? And I'd like to take a moment of your time. This will be the first offer of one of Hubley's services. Now that we've done the background theory, what I'm about to show you is not one of Hubley's software tools. Rather, it's a form of consulting service which gives you an opportunity to gain a very accurate assessment of your current enrollment marketing strategies. And we call this the Parent Communication Report Card. So first off, I want to make sure I've got your permission to go in and talk about this. So do I have your permission to take a few minutes of your time and show you this Parent Communication Report Card system? So just go into that chat box on the right side. All right, Mary gave me the go ahead. All right. Thanks, Mary. So the Hubley Parent Communication Report Card is the fastest way to learn exactly what you can do to increase your enrollment. This report card will enable you to determine how your website's performing with regard to speed and security and overall search engine optimization. That's really important. So we're going to do a deep dive into your site, and we're going to tell you, we've got the tools to actually go in there and see how your site's doing and where things could be improved. Very, very crucial information. How you can also significantly increase the number of inquiries of prospective families. So we're going to take a look at what you're doing to advertise a school, how you're using the website, maybe how you're not using the website, and just what kind of systems and strategies you're using, and how you can attract more of those right fit, ideal fit families to your school. And also, how you can reduce the stress and the workload of managing an old school enrollment process, which is what we see at a lot of schools. You know, so we're going to show you what you can do to sort of get up to speed with, you know, not just systems and new processes for the sake of them, but because these are the ways that parents expect to be engaged today. So how to move into, you know, the expectations of your actual prospective parents and your existing parents too. So the way this works is you get a live 1 hour one-on-one assessment with me personally, and you get an actionable report with specific strategies and tools for your specific school. And this is going to be different from school to school. So this really is why it takes a bit of a consultation. You need to ask a lot of questions and dig around and see what you're doing. There's also, you get an optional 50% off the Hubly setup and training. So if you decide, so this information we're going to give you, you don't need to be a Hubly customer to use it. You can take this information and you can use it with other tools, other systems, and even other, you know, consultants. You can hand this to a web guy and say, hey, you know, please make sure this gets, you know, this happens. And then, but because we kind of simplify and centralize all these things, then we're going to give you a 50% discount. So if you do this consultation, it locks you into a 50% discount for Hubly. And then also you get 1 free month off our services. So so it's a pretty big savings. So I'll break this down a little bit more. So the first thing you're going to get is, like, you know, you actually get that report on your website. We're going to see how it's doing. We're going to, you know, again, dive into all the different areas of performance for a website. You'll be able to take this information and know exactly where the problems are and exactly what needs to be fixed. We're going to give you an action list, you know, what you need to do for your website, for email newsletters, for Facebook, all these different things that you need to do. You're going to get very, you know, something that you can check off, right, and make sure that you're doing the best job you can. And then the third deliverable, and this is where I would say probably the most value comes in. We're gonna interview you, and we're going to create like a real business analysis that's going to compare your current expenses and your revenue, and also show you with some, like, you know, what can improvements in these different areas, what type of impact it can have on the financial health of the school, right? So we're going to help you understand very specifically where you're spending too much money, where you should be pulling back, and we're going to give you those strategies on how to fix those things. But also, if you can improve the revenue generating side of the school as well, incrementally, we're talking about small incremental improvements. We're going to show you how you can generally improve your the sort of the net margin, or you might say profit, which is, sometimes people think profit's a bad word, but profit in the way of just more revenue that you can invest back into the school, and of course pay your teachers more and build that new gym and all that stuff. You know, it takes revenue and it takes efficiency to generate that ability to invest back into the school. We're going to show you how you can do that. So the idea is you're going to have all your targets clearly in focus, and you're going to know what path you need to go down. And this is something that you can take and you can hand this to any board or any you know, financiers or anything like that, and say, this is exactly how we're going to grow, and by this much money, and nobody can argue with it because the numbers don't lie. So what's the investment to get this consultation? So what you get is you get that parent communication report card. We generally charge $4.98 for that. You also, the optional Hubly setup is regularly priced at $19.99, and the monthly fees for Hubly is actually $5.99. So the total value is $3,096. And the investment today to get that consultation with all those deliverables and all those reports is only $97. So we're reducing the parent communication report card from $4.98 down to $97. If you decide to move forward with Hubly, you get a 50% discount on the setup. That brings it down to $9.99, and that first month is free as well. So you actually, if you do the report card, parent communication report card, you can actually save a total of $1,800. But all it costs is $97 to do that report card. So it's $97. I'm going to go ahead and and allow you to click on a button here to actually get it. And I just want you to know that you can get started today, and you can start getting inquiries this month if you know what to do. Right, you can really make a tangible difference. It takes less than a month to get the information from us. We'll create an action plan for you, and you can either move forward on your own, or we can help you move forward. And what I'm telling you is, in less than a month, you can have a great enrollment generating system that starts getting inquiries inbound to you. It takes less than a month to get all that stuff happening. We do it time and time again with schools, and we see the results. I've shown you some of the results, and that's how you do it. I mean, and then you've got a system, and it's built, and it just works on its own. Once it's built, it doesn't go anywhere. All you have to do is switch it on and off, and out of the other end of the machine comes great inquiries. It does take a little bit of time and investment to get going, but it's really well worth it. So that's the idea. And I also want to say, with this $97 offer, there's a 100% money back guarantee. And we'll even take it one step further. If you do this consultation with us and you feel like you didn't get value out of it, not only will we give you that $97 back, we're going to give you an extra $25 for your time. We don't want to be wasting your time. We don't want you to feel like you didn't get value out of it. Nobody has ever asked for their money back, I'll be totally honest, but we are very happy to give it back to you. So, there really is no risk to doing this consultation.
Jono, could you check the ad you put out, because Mary is saying that when she clicks on the button, nothing is happening.
Oh, sure. Let me take a look. Thanks for letting me know. Very, very appreciated. Seems to work on my end, but you know what you can do is, instead of, if that button's not working, you can just go to hubly.com/get-report. That link is right there on the screen. And maybe, Pat, if you could add that into the chat box as well. So that's a direct link to get that. So it's just hubly.com/get-report, and that'll also take you to a place where you can get that. Where you can sign up for it too. So something that's really, really worth your while, guys. This is gonna, again, there's no risk. We'll give you every dollar back, plus $25 for your time. And we're here to build a relationship with you. If you don't want the relationship, we don't want you to feel like you're stuck or you lost any value in it. So we're always happy to risk our time to show you that there's a very clear path towards growing your enrollment and improving your parent communication system. That's what we're in it for. So we don't want, we just want to make this a risk-free opportunity. So yeah, that's why we do it. So again, if that button's not working, just go to hubly.com/get-report, and you'll be able to sign up there. Is there any more questions? I love answering questions. Did I miss any questions, Pat?
No, there was a couple comments. Somebody did ask about different types of automated calendaring system that were available out there. Do you?
Yeah, so obviously Hubly has one built into our system, where our whole thing is that we're this all-in-one system, so you don't have to piece together multiple tools. But I'll tell you, the ones that are out there that are standalone calendar scheduling apps that are really good, I would say the best one that I believe on the market as a standalone app is called Calendly. It's a really good one. So I would just start with that one. Seems to be, there are a lot of them, but they get quite expensive. That one is, it's actually my favorite, and it's, I think, also the most economical. I think they might even have a free version, so definitely check that out. They're a great little calendar app. But what I would say is that it's important to consider how many different little tools you want to use and sort of patch together. That's one of the things we run into with schools is, even if they're not using Hubly, they can we can help them improve the amount of kind of what happens is schools start to create this haphazard patchwork. It ends up taking up even more time than like using paper almost because there's all these different tools to connect in 20 different places where the information is going. So it's every school and every person's different, but we try to just keep it really simple for you, so everything's in one place, one platform. So bring it all into one place. But if you do want to just get that one calendar app, I would say go to Calendly. It's a great little tool. I have to admit, it's a good one.
And Jono, we do have a question. We have a parent advisor to their child's Montessori school, and she's going to share the information. And she wanted to know if we're able to email the presentation out.
Yeah, so there will be a recording, but what I would suggest is, email me at jono@hubly.com. There will be a replay of this. It'll be up for 48 hours, and then it'll be taken down. So you will get an email that gives you a link to that replay in case you want to, sign up for it again or show somebody else. But if that doesn't work, that timing-wise doesn't work, then email me at jono@hubly.com, jono@hubbli.com, and we can schedule something to maybe one-on-one, or if that automated replay doesn't work for you timing wise, just reach out to us and we'll figure it out for sure. Any more questions? Questions are great. They're always a lot of fun. Just out of interest, has anyone else been able to click on that offer to go sign up for the parent communication report? I'm wondering if it's not working for anybody, or if it's just Mary maybe having an issue on her computer or something. So we'll leave this up for a few more minutes. Here to answer questions about Facebook, about anything that I talked about. I love talking about any type of marketing strategy. Of course, anything to do on topic is great. I wish I could have some background music, but I'm in a different location. Usually I've got my system set up so I can play you some of my tunes for my old band. My one opportunity to gratuitously share my my band's music, but all my friends and family are sick of me pushing it on them. But it's unfortunately I can't, so it's just some dead air unless I just keep on talking. So I'm happy to. It's always nicer to answer questions rather than sit here and just blow hot air. So if anybody has any more questions, please don't hesitate. Shoot them off into the chat box on the right side, and I'm here to for another about 5 minutes to answer all of your questions.
We have a question that just came up. What do you suggest to try to educate the community? No one in our community seems to know about Montessori.
Yeah, so, I think what I suggest, Mary, I really believe the best way to educate your community on Montessori is to not try to educate them on Montessori. And that might sound really silly, but what I mean is the mistake that a lot of Montessori leaders make is trying to sort of starting the relationship by trying to educate people on Montessori. And there's nothing wrong with that. Montessori is amazing, and I believe that, and everybody that really understands it does too. But what I think the best way to educate people on Montessori is to bring in people, to find people that share a common value that you can connect to, and and understand that they're looking for the values that the Montessori method offers, but not necessarily understanding specifically that it's because it's a Montessori school. You just want them to connect with the general values that the Montessori method provides children. And those are the people you want to connect with. You want to find those people, and you want to pull them into the school to a tour. Or I do really think one of the best ways to do it is to have regular, like maybe every, like I would say like a regular monthly parenting information, not an information session about your school, but a free parenting seminar that brings people into your environment. Have your teachers run them, or have you or somebody else, some educator, give those parents like me. I've got 2 toddlers at home. My wife and I love to go to parenting nights and things like that, where we love to read the books, and we love to be to learn. And if you can create that environment and get the right parents, those sort of ideal people into your school for a free information session, and Facebook ads are a great way to do this, then you've got all those people in your school. And think about how you're positioning yourself. They're coming into this place, it says Montessori. They don't necessarily know what that means, but they came in and there's basically this parenting guru, kind of like educating them and giving them tools and tips and things that they can go take home that night, and you work with their kids. Like, you are like, that's like actually you become guru status. And it's like, where else would those parents put their children, right? So what you want to do is you want to like, one thing that I love about Montessori is that it's so focused on parent education. Brilliant, the smartest thing to do. And there's a lot of good tools out there. We work with the Montessori Foundation, and they make they make a lot of great publications, Tomorrow's Child and all that stuff, to help schools give the parents the education. But the question is, how do you get the parents into that point, right? So that's where the Facebook ads and everything comes in. And it's the best, hands down, bar none, the best way to get those ideal parents into your school, so that you can give them those free education sessions and position yourselves as that guru that they want to attach themselves to. And I don't mean guru in that type of like traditional sort of, stereotypical sense. I mean, you become like, you're like the parenting master. You're like the child education master, right? And you're teaching them, think about where any parent is more likely to put their child, where just where their friend's child goes, or the place where they themselves have been educated by these wise, amazing teachers. I mean, you create that type of relationship with a parent, they're not going to put their kids anywhere else except for with you, because they trust you and they've connected with you and you've got a relationship with them. But it's trust. They trust that their child is in the best hands possible. And you didn't even have to sell them on the school. All you did was create a relationship with them and position yourself to show the value that you guys have to offer.
We did have another question pop up. What is the most important aspect of blogging?
It's kind of like what I just talked about, Florence. The most important aspect of blogging is that okay, there's two levels. Number one, it's the how. You want to make sure that you're blogging very, very consistently. It needs to be, ideally, let's say once a week or once a month, but it should be the same day of the month or the same day of the week every week or every month. That consistency is really crucial, because if your blogging schedule is not consistent, that alone hurts your level of trust. You want parents to see a well-oiled machine, a good organization. They want to see consistency. They want to understand that they're putting their children with an organization that can run things consistently and is well organized. That's one thing. Number two, the content, the topics you want to focus on, much like those information sessions I just talked about, you want your blog articles to be focused on helpful, utility-based content that a parent will read and say, wow, I can use this tonight with my kids. Like a topic, like how to get your kids to eat greens, or how to stop, how to get your children from bullying each other, or something that really is like a real pain point for parents, or how to do potty training, or things like that. Things that are just like, man, like this is the stuff that are just driving parents crazy. And if you give them tools and tips and techniques, that's something that they will literally share with all of their parent friends. And that just means when they share it, it just brings more and more people into your online home, which is your website. And that's another, by the way, that's another feature that Hubly offers. It has a blogging tool inside the platform as well. So, kind of parent communication, engagement, blogging as a really, if used properly, can be a really powerful way of engaging both your existing parents, but also your, those prospective parents. And blogging is actually a great tool to give your existing parents to share. It's a great opportunity for your existing parents to share something from your school with their friends, let's say on Facebook. That's how you get that kind of viral growth as well. And the idea is that it all brings the right people back to you, and ultimately into your enrollment process, so that it just keeps on driving the same people who are the ideal fit. And the more and more you're able to enroll parents who are the ideal fit, the more they're going to bring in more parents like them that are an ideal fit. And it's it's kind of it becomes an exponential growth scenario where hardly any effort ends up having the snowball effect. If you just do a couple of things regularly and strategically, and you do them really well, they really start to snowball on each other, and over time you start to see an incredible, consistent inflow of really good leads. And that's the that's kind of a very high level way of describing it, but blogging is a really great tool if used well. Okay, we're going to wrap it up today. Thanks everybody so much for joining us and letting me geek out on Facebook ads a little bit. And do connect with us anytime. We're at hubly.com. That's my email address. Do sign. I mean, this consultation, we're going to get really, really deep, and I'll be able to dig into your specific scenario and give you some very specific and actionable information that you take. And if you don't feel like it was valuable for you, we'll give you every penny back, and I'll even pay you $25 for wasting your time, which I won't be wasting your time, but if you feel that way, I won't argue, no questions asked. Thank you again, and I do hope we get to connect with each and every one of you in the near future. Have a wonderful day, everybody.